Hey everybody, this is Tony and I'm here today with a special guest, none other than Miss Tawatha Agee. How you doing today?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing just fine. Of course,
Wonderful.
Miss Agee, if people don't know, you are definitely one of the most influential voices of this time period. And if they don't know your name, they definitely have heard your voice over the years numerous times. You probably haven't even known it. Of course, you were a member of the band or group Mtume.
Hmm.
But before that, I know that you were in another group along with Angela Winbush called Hot Tea.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Richard Smallwood.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So talk to me about how you got to that point before we got to M2. Talk to me about how we got there and what happened with the group.
Okay. Well, I was a student at Howard University
Right.
and College of Fine Arts, and so was Angela. And I think Richard was there. I think he had just graduated or something. They went to the same church, but we were always in the practice room in the basement of the Fine Arts building, just messing around and singing. So it's like, maybe we should start a group.
Mhm.
So at first it was Angela and Yvette Ricks, who lives in California, and we were all music majors, and so we all played and we all sang. So we would just take turns playing the piano and singing, adding harmonies to whatever and writing songs. It's like, we should start a group, and we did. But we sang around. We did the church circuit. We sang in churches. Yeah.
Okay.
So our name was not Hot Tea for the church. Actually our name was Genesis, but it was a lot of fun. It was a very creative and a very fertile time for all
Yeah,
of us. We were all students. There were no boundaries, so whatever we came up with was like, oh, it's cool, let's do this.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and then because Angela and Richard went to the same church, um, that's how I met Richard. And then we had another gentleman by the name of Shelton Beckton, who's a very fine pianist. I mean, and we had all come from the College of Fine Arts. And so we just, we got a chance to work and do a few gigs and make a little extra change.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you were growing up, though, you were always pretty much in musical writing and those kinds of things.
Yeah, because when I was younger, I played for my junior choir
Okay.
when I was a teenager, and I was always singing with my father in church, and so it was just a logical progression. I went to a music and arts high school, and then I went to Howard for fine arts. Got my Bachelor of Music Education there, and that's where I met the rest of Hot Tea. And the great thing about Hot Tea is that everybody in the group went on to do wonderful things. We
Yeah.
didn't stay together. But while we were in school, we sang. And that's how I met Mtume, because he came to DC looking for a group to produce. And our manager, friend slash manager, we weren't doing enough work to have a manager, but our friend slash manager was Louise West, who knew James Mtume and Reggie Lucas, who were working with, they had worked with Miles Davis.
Yeah.
And then had been working with Roberta Flack.
Right.
And so then they started to go out on their own to write their own music, and they were looking for a group to produce. And we did demos for them, but that didn't work out. But as it turned out, Mtume and I lived in the same town. And so we kept in touch after I graduated. And then when he decided he wanted to form his own band called Mtume, he asked me if I would sing in it. And it's like, sure.
Right, right. It's a
I'd love to
no-brainer.
do that.
But you know what? I think people don't understand, or hopefully people understand at some point that Mr. James Mtume is really like a musical genius.
Oh, absolutely.
And his history is very rich. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you, of course, joined the band in like the late 70s, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, the band. Well, that's when he created the band Mtume.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because that's how old I am. I mean, I graduated from Howard. Just to be direct, I graduated from Howard in 1975.
Okay.
So that was way before everybody was born. So And so the Mtume band started like 76, 77. The first album came out in 78.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you guys, of course, went on to have great success some years later, though. The big success came, of course, with Juicy Fruit in 83.
Yes.
Me and He, COD, I'll Deliver. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, numerous hits, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Juicy Fruit was one of the biggest, though, and you sang lead on that, of course.
Yes.
It took off, went #1 all around the world, pretty much.
Yeah, it was #1 for 8 weeks, which was a big thing then.
Yeah.
And there was no social media, and there was no streaming. It was just, radio, just radio.
Yeah. So how did you feel, though, when you heard the song, become big as it did, and what was it like making the song for you?
Well, when let's go back a little. When
Okay.
I was in the Mtume band, but also in between the first Mtume band and Juicy Fruit, Mtume and Reggie were a production team, and they produced a lot of different acts and they had a lot of hits. Okay, they had a lot of hits with different acts. And what I would do would be I would hire the singers for the background sessions for each of the artists that they produced. It would have been Stephanie Mills, it would have been the Spinners, it would have been Phyllis Hyman, and people like that. I mean, they all had huge records. Right. So I was out on the road with somebody else. I was in Europe working with a group called Risque Music, who, by the way, had just been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019. Okay, that's just a side note. That's it, because it's it's a lot of stuff going on up here.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to remember everything. But with Mtume, he was working on the new record, and I was out in Europe, and he said, "You got to come back because I got one more song to do." Okay. It's like, okay, because I was off that particular weekend, so I flew back in from London back to Jersey, and we recorded this song called Juicy Fruit, and he was writing the verses as I was singing the verses. So it was like, because he had the music together, but he didn't have the melody and on all of that stuff together. So we finally finished that, and I went on back to London to finish my tour with this other band, because that's what I do. I work with a lot of other people. So of course. So when I was on the road with Risque Music, he would tell me how the record was doing. The record came out. He says, because that's when they had like the top 100 on Billboard. Yeah. It's like, it came in like at number 78. It's like, oh man, it's not gonna do nothing. And then as time went on, he says, oh, you're not gonna believe this. It's like 50. It's like 20. It's like 10. And then I called him, he said, the record is #1. It's like, what are you talking about? #1, Juicy Fruit was #1. And when I was working with, like I said, I was on tour with Risque Music. Yeah. They were so kind. They played Juicy Fruit during their intermission. So, they were very generous. So, and that's how I found out about Juicy Fruit. I was on tour with somebody else. And then when I came back home, got off tour with them, we had to get ready for the Mtume tour because the record was so big. We had to, you got to work the song. You got to
exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because sometimes you never know, what a record will do when it's put out.
You never know.
And I'm pretty sure when you first heard it, you probably didn't say this will go #1, but you probably knew it was something good though.
No, but look, I knew I was in a great band full of great musicians, and you didn't even have to know our music for us to bring you in and for you to to love what we were doing. Yeah. But one thing I want you to know was that the record company didn't want Juicy Fruit to be a single. They didn't want that at all. And it's like, the Juicy Fruit was the people's song because once the album came out, people started requesting it on the radio, and they requested it to the point where the record company said, well, let's just make this a single. Yeah. But they were not behind it at all. At all. So that the people pushed that, And that there was also other songs, but Juicy Fruit was the first one. It's like, whoa, what's that song? You know, and that line that everybody doesn't want to say, but they all say, you know, which was very risque at the time. Now it's like,
whatever.
It means it's light now. It's light, as they say now.
Yeah, you look, Juicy Fruit is just a minor comparison to what's put out now.
Woo, let me tell you something. I've heard some things just like, whoo, I can't, what? And then I find myself, you know, singing it or whatever. If it's whether it's Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or whoever, it's like, whoo, you know.
It's way minuscule to compare to, you know, what they got now.
Oh yeah. Oh no. The Juicy Fruit was light compared to what they have now. They wouldn't even think of trying to stop us from doing that now, because it's like, oh, that's all you got. Oh, this is easy. So
exactly. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to let God work, and you know, that's when you really see things coming to fruition and see it happen, because when people don't see it, He already saw it.
Right. And the record company didn't see it. The record company did not hear it, but the people wanted that song. Yeah. And during that time, the beat of Juicy Fruit was so much slower than what was going on at the time, because you know it was the end of the disco thing was still going on. So you had that fast rhythm, but Juicy slowed it down so everybody could just, you know, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
But of course, Mtume, the band had numerous hits, though, like I said. I think You, Me, and He, though, was one of my favorites. But if you really listen to the lyrics, it's almost like, what?
Well, you know what? That's what all his songs, you have to listen with like that third ear. It's like, what? Because you think it's, you know, you're dancing, you're grooving. It's like, oh, that's really nice. And then it's like, what did he say?
Yeah. Because especially when the part when it comes in and say he's my lover and I'm your wife,
right?
Like, okay, so you having an affair at this point.
Yep. You, me, and he, or you, me, and she, whatever floats your boat. You know, it's like whatever, however you interpret it is fine. You know, the same with Juicy. It's like I was so happy to be singing. It's like I didn't mind the risque-ness of it all. I didn't mind it because it meant something different to whoever was listening to it.
Right.
A little kid listening to Juicy Fruit is not thinking about what a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old thinking about Juicy Fruit. So it was cool.
Of course, that song went on to be sampled though by the hip hop community. Excuse me. Of course, Biggie, who I got on the wall up here, sampled it. It was one of the biggest.
Yes.
When you heard his song, what did you think about it?
I loved it because first of all, it was Biggie Smalls. Well, Biggie, and then it was like a whole new generation of people could hear Juicy Fruit. You know. Because their parents knew the song. Now the kids were feeling it because Biggie did it, and then it took it to a whole nother level. And then when Keisha Cole did it too, with Keisha Cole, Missy Elliott.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it was called Let It Go.
Yeah.
And it was still Juicy. So that's another generation that's hearing music, and it's like. But it's, you know, the lyrics are different, but it's still Juicy Fruit is the pad. Juicy Fruit was the foundation. And now Neo has sampled it. Neo and Jeremiah, who's really ill right now. But, you know, so it's the song that keeps getting sampled. It's one of the most sampled songs in hip hop. I
love that you and James and Mtume, though, it seems like you guys have like a understanding, I would say, with each other, because it's almost like, it's you two don't work without each other to a certain degree,
right?
So I really love you guys as a connection. I just
yes. I mean, you know, it's like this. It's like, you know, it's amazing. We've been friends for a long time, and I understand what he wants musically, and he knows that he can get that from me. So I can interpret what he writes. So it worked out. It's a great working relationship. Great.
Yeah, it's wonderful to really have somebody who can pick up where you leave off, or to know where you're going with something. So
Right.
everybody
Like you can finish my sentences. You know what I'm saying?
right. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course, though, you know, in the midst of or after Mtume, you went and did a solo album
mm-hmm.
of your own. I think
Yeah,
it was in 87, 86.
yeah,
Welcome to My Dream.
yes.
So what happened with the album though?
With the album, okay. See, my role, okay, it was Mtume Lucas Productions.
Right.
So it's like we got a slot. You want to do a record? You want to do a solo record? Because during the interim, I was working with Lenny Kravitz. I was working with David Bowie. I was working with Luther Vandross. I was working with Aretha Franklin. I mean, I worked with Steely Dan. I mean, I was working all the time. So that Tawatha album was just another project for the Mtume Lucas Productions. And what they would do when they got somebody to produce, they would open it up. So everybody in the band got a chance to write songs for whatever project they were doing. So they were very generous in that respect. So we all got a chance to hone our songwriting skills. Mm-hmm. And the band was full of musicians anyway. So it was really cool. But my project was just like, okay, I'll do this. I got some time right now because I'm not going out on tour. So let's just do this project and see what happens. And so we did it. And then the Welcome to My Dream came out, and I went out on tour with somebody else. You know, it was like, you know, you got to keep it flowing. You got to keep it flowing. Yeah.
But do you think you were ready at that time to do a solo album? Just per se because you had been with a band or a group already, you were singing background. So were you ready for yourself to really be projected out into the world on your own?
Well, you know, I never wanted to be a solo artist. I always wanted to be in the background. It just so happened that the songs that were done, they did well. The Juicy Fruit did well. You, Me, and He did well. So it's like, okay, well, I'll just do this. I wasn't looking to be a solo act.
Right.
I wasn't looking to do that at all. But if the record did something, then there was no grand plan. It was just like, let's do this, another project. This, take it to the bank, take it to the bank, take it to the bank. Right. You know? So, and that's what we did. So whether I was ready, I was singing. It was just, for me, it was just another project. It wasn't like my heart and soul is in this, and if that record doesn't happen, then I'm just going to be destroyed. It's like, no, because I was too busy working I was working all the time. Yeah. I was working all the time. So perhaps that might have helped because I knew I would still be working whether or not the record did well or not. So I wish it could have done better, like for my family, but for me, I was still traveling all over the world working with people. So,
okay.
You know.
That makes sense though. Yeah. But of course, you not only have done background work, excuse me, you've done lead singing as we heard and seen, but you've also done songwriting, of course, including like Stephanie Mills and Teddy Pendergrass's Two Hearts.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
How does it come about that you write something so great? And then you have two big artists that are just like, you know, meshing with each other, sing it. What is that like for you?
Well, you know, Mtume and Reggie got the deal to do Stephanie Mills.
Okay.
And then they said, oh, let's do a duet. Who do you want to do a duet? Who would you like to do a duet with? And then Teddy Pendergrass's name came up. It's like, oh, that should be great. You know, because Teddy was, you know, that closed the door and whatever. He was the quintessential male singer at the time.
That's right.
And so I submitted a song for the project. And I said, you know, listen to this, guys. You know, I played it for him, and they said, oh, that's pretty cool. Let's track this song and you sing it and let them hear it and see what happens. And they liked it, and it was Two Hearts.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a great song because if you think about it too, they had Feel the Fire already.
Yes.
And so that just added on to what they had already.
Oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing to see him and her, you know, because Teddy was like 6 feet tall, and
Yeah.
Stephanie's like short like me. She'd be like 5 feet tall. So I mean, you know, but it was great because you know, such powerhouse voices, you
Yeah.
know. And I got the opportunity to see Stephanie perform Two Hearts, and I cried like a baby. It was like, oh my God, this one of I cried like a baby. I wanted to stand up and say, "That's my song. That's my song." But you know, it was something to hear what you've written
Yeah.
and by such a great artist. And by the time I saw Stephanie perform it, Teddy was gone. Teddy had
Yeah.
passed away, but she still had. It was still great. It was great. So it was like it was like one of my kids, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's one of my first babies, you know. So so it was great. It was a great experience.
Yeah. And a lot of people may not know, you know, who the writer of a song is, even when they hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember her talking about, Stephanie Mills talking about, I Learned to Respect the Power of Love being wrote by
Yes.
Angela Winbush.
Yes. Yes.
And a lot of people didn't realize that. So you
Oh
know,
yeah.
you never really know. And then I think sometimes when you hear the song after they say that, you like, okay, I can hear them singing that, or I can hear their touch in it.
Right. Yeah. Because you could definitely hear Angela in Power of Love. I knew it immediately. I said, that's Angela's song. You know, when I heard Stephanie do it, and it was true. It was true because I had to call her up. It's like, did you write that? Say, yeah. You know, so it's something. The power of music is amazing.
Yeah, it really
and
is.
you know, back in the day, I used to read liner notes all the time when the Gamble and Huff Philly International music was coming out of Philly. I would always read the liner notes, and I said, one day I'm going to see my name on the back of an album, just like these girls. And that's what happened. That's what happened. That was just like, you know, because I like to read. I want to know who was playing what, who was singing what,
Right.
And they were like the first people to list the background singers and the people in the band.
Yeah.
And so I would look for that in all the albums that I ever purchased. And it's like, one day I'm going to see my name up there, like as background singer. And that's what happened. That's what happened.
So but let me ask you this though: when you see somebody sing a song of yours, or you know hear somebody do something that you help co-write or something, or you have a song out that people might not know is you, do you sometimes feel a need to want to say, you know, that's me, like, or do you feel like a sense of like, oh, they don't know it's me, but I know it's me, but you know, do you ever get in that?
You know what it is? It's like if you hear your music like in the elevator, it's like, that's my song. And so it's like it's like a very special secret that you just have to smile when you hear your music. And you know, I never said, oh, I wrote that, you know, I did that, or I'm singing background on this Luther song or that Luther song. It's like, I never did that, but people would read the liner notes. And when Juicy came out, I couldn't walk down the street because people started calling me, "Hey, Juicy, what's up?" And then it was like, oh my God, I can't even go outside. And even when we were still doing studio work out of Manhattan, the parking lot attendants would say, "Hey, Juicy, what time you coming back tonight?" You know, so it's like, you know, you don't have to tell them. People find out.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm very I like to keep things to myself, and I like to like treasure that. So it's like, oh my God, that Two Hearts sounds so good. You Know How to Love Me sounds so good. That Cheryl Lynn song sounds really, really good. And so it's like, you know, and so that's like, I got a body of work that I'm proud of, you know, and that's it for me. That's it. That's the be all and end all for me. I got a body of work that I can be proud of.
Yeah, I think I can tell that you're a very humble woman. And I respect that tremendously, because some people, you know, now are just like, no, give me everything. I need you to know. I need to get this. I need to do that. So
I think it's just different now because, you know, because you got to fight for a spot. you know, you got to fight for a spot, and so you got to make your presence known. But
Yeah.
I'm not built that way. But and I don't know if I started working now, if it would be the same.
Right.
You know, but
Right.
when I came out, there was an open playing field, and everybody respected the fact that you were different. You didn't have to sound like the next person. They respected your individuality.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of the success of the Mtume band, and my success as a background singer, because people saw the work that I saw, the projects that I worked on, and they wanted to have that same sound on their projects. That's how I got a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we would be in the studio. It was called Sigma Sound in Manhattan. That's where Mtume did we did all our sessions. And then the other two rooms, it might be somebody from Philly International, or it might be Ashford and Simpson in the next room. And then they'd come in and say, look, we got this idea. Could you come in and sing? You know, and the work came just like that. So, and people wanted that Mtume sound in the backgrounds. They wanted that on their projects. And so, and that's how I got a lot of work.
Yeah. But you know what? It's because you were just that good though, too, because if you think about it, nobody's going to call a bad singer, honestly. So you were doing it. Like, it's no other way around that. And I like I said, I respect you tremendously for just being as humble as you are. But I feel like you need to get your just due at some point. So I'm
truly unsung. I'm the definition of unsung.
There you go. So,
but it's okay. It's fine with me. It's fine as long as I'm comfortable. Yes. I'm comfortable. My surroundings are comfortable, and I don't have to worry about anything. So for me, that's cool. That's cool.
Okay. Well, I do want to let people know some of the other work that you've done, though. If you can remember some of it. I know it's been a lot. I know you said Phyllis Hyman stuff you did, Stephanie Mills.
And those were just things that Mtume produced. Okay. I mean, I work with Nile Rodgers. I've worked with like big pop bands. My goodness, there's so many songs. I would have to. Before I came out here to do this, I said I got to look over the list so I can remember what I've done, because it's been a lot of years.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of years. Yeah. But I've worked with oh my God, the most popular are of course Aretha,
yes,
and Luther, yes. Lenny Kravitz, the Dave Matthews Band. I've done work with like Nile Rodgers. I've done work with. Who else? I would have to get the sheet to look at it, to read to you, because it's so many people.
Yeah.
Until after a while you forget, and then if you hear something on the radio, it's like, is that me? Am I singing in the group? Because sometimes you know age.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. But you know what? I'm glad that you're still young enough though to be able to enjoy what you have done.
Yes,
really,
I'm still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it.
Right.
Okay. I have my list of my discography.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. It's been okay. We know the Spinners, Stephanie Mills and Teddy Pendergrass, and Phyllis Hyman, Cheryl Lynn. I've worked on a few movies, Disney movies. Mo Better Blues. I've done work on New York Undercover. As a matter of fact, that show's coming back too. I've worked with Nancy Wilson. I've worked with Ray Charles. I've worked with Roberta Flack, a group called Screedy Politi. Stevie Ray Vaughan I did with Nile Rodgers. The Thompson Twins, the Water Boys, Milton Nascimento. Joe Cocker. It's a lot of people.
A bunch of legends, really.
and it was varied. It wasn't the same type of music. It was all different styles of music, which is what I like that, because being a background singer, you're supporting the artist. Yeah. So you have to know different styles of music. So it's not the same thing for everybody.
It's not. And speaking of being a background singer, so I just want to touch on that for a little bit too, because I'm curious because if you remember a few years ago, the documentary came out, 20 Feet from Stardom.
Yes.
And that was pretty big. It won a Academy Award, and
Yes, it did.
Featuring Darlene Love, Mary Clayton, and a bunch of
Lisa Fisher.
Right.
Yes.
So of course, they talked about their careers and how sometimes it seemed like they couldn't make it to the front no matter what happened. For you though, do you consider yourself to be a background singer, even though you've done lead work?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you know what? There's nothing wrong with being in the background.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong. You're still on stage.
Right.
I mean, unless you have the kind of personality that just needs to be in the front.
Right.
I don't. I always love the support of it. Not, and every now and then you could do what they call a step out, which means, you come from the back and they let you sing a song or something like that. That's cool for me. That's cool for me.
Yeah. I thought it was a awesome way to highlight some of the unsung heroes like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have had you on there, matter of fact, but
they had so many. There's a lot of people on that list.
Yeah.
But you know what? Lisa represented us because Lisa came from the Luther family.
Right.
So and then of course every year at Christmas, Darlene Love would sing on the Dave Letterman show. I think we did it for like 25 years. She did a Christmas song and she had all of us come and sing. So it's a big community, a big family. So she would have all the singers come and sing one of her Christmas songs on the David Letterman show every year. So that's when you knew it was Christmas. Did you get the call for Darlene? And so, it was a big deal. So, but Darlene Love was very generous woman, very generous.
Yes.
An outstanding talent, and she's been through a lot. And so she's like one of the godmothers of background singers.
Yeah.
She had to go through quite a bit, but she's all of that. She is all of that. And one of the most amazing voices you've ever heard. Yeah.
I honestly can't believe how some of these people are even on here saying, I couldn't get this or this didn't work out. And it's almost to show you that even though you have what's necessary, sometimes it just doesn't turn out the way you think it's going to turn out.
No, that's true. That's true. Because you know what? I read liner notes. I knew one day I'd see my name on liner notes, but I didn't expect that I would have gone to school to graduate to become a teacher. And I was looking for a job as a full-time teacher, and I couldn't find there were no jobs available, no music positions open. So I was a substitute teacher. And that was like, back then it was like no money. So I would work all the time as a substitute teacher, but I'd be traveling to different schools every day. Yeah. And then Mtume called and says, look, I got this session. It's only paying X amount of dollars, but what he didn't know was what he was telling me for one session for like 2 hours was what I would make for the week.
Right.
So it's like, oh, well, if I could do 2 or 3 of these sessions, then I don't have to do the subbing anymore, right. Especially since they didn't have a full-time position open. So as time went on, I started doing more sessions and didn't have to take the substitute teacher's job. So, right. You got to make it work. I mean, because I think where people make their mistake is they want to be out front immediately.
Exactly.
They want to be the star. That's like, I don't have to be a star. I like to be on stage. Yeah. I like to be on stage, but I don't have to be the star. I like to be the support.
But that's always a good mindset to have, though, because like I said, you're not competing with anyone at this point. No. So you're good. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, I'm good either way. Either way. Yeah, but as it turned out, things turn out the way they turn out. This is, I think, for me, being a background singer was the way to go. I think it's a great job.
Yeah. When you started out with Mtume, though, were you anticipating being a background singer then, or were you already knowing that you were going to be?
No. I just knew I read a lot of liner notes, and I knew a lot of who was singing on what. but I had never been in a band before. So Mtume was the first band that I had ever been in. And so in meeting him and working with him, and then he had friends who said, oh, I'm doing this session. Do you have a singer for me? And he said, oh, sure, Tawatha can do it. And so it was word of mouth. Yes. Word of mouth. I got work by word of mouth. I never had a manager. I never even had like a business card. Everything was by word of mouth. Everything.
Yeah, I could tell that you were just that good, because I would see things and see you in it, and or see you on it. Just like a few years ago with Aretha Franklin, I seen you on I think it was David Letterman show.
Yes.
It was you and Cissy Houston and a few more people singing background for her. And I'm like, people really don't know that this woman is the woman who sang Juicy Fruit, and she's right here singing background right now.
And you know what? And for me, that's the fun part of it, because they don't know. They just know I'm standing out here singing with Aretha. They don't know what any of the other singers have done. Right. So it's like, and I like it that way. That way I can go home and walk around my house or walk around in the neighborhood and be cool, Yeah. And, when we did the Aretha thing, I had gotten home, and my neighbor said, "Oh yeah, we saw you on that was on The View. We saw you on The View this morning with Aretha." So I mean, I try to ease in and out, but
Yeah. But I mean, honestly though, we hear stories of people whose careers have, of course, went to the top and definitely have fallen. Yes. But I don't think you really had to go through something as tragic or as big during your career, though, if I'm not mistaken.
I've never had, I don't have there are many tragic stories.
Yeah.
I don't have one of them, because you know what? Mtume always looked out for me.
Yes.
He always looked out for me. So I had, and then you learn to speak up for yourself. So it's like, don't mess with me. It's like, look, okay, this is the song. Okay, you want me to sing the song? You want me to bring some girls in? This is what the money is. Okay, now you can pay us. I was what you call the contractor. So I hired the singers. I said, you can pay us to sing. Now you're gonna pay a little more, but we're gonna be in and out of there. Or you can get somebody that's going to be in here for 4 or 5 hours, and it's just like, and you're going to spend more money trying to teach them the part, and we can be in and out in a couple of hours.
That's right.
And all you got to do is pay this, and You
to put your negotiation skills on. That's all.
Oh, I had that, and I got that from Mtume. Mtume taught me that.
I could tell, because he is just I really wish people Unsung highlighted Mtume, the band, yes, of course, but I really wish people were able to see a look into his life, because he really is
he needed one on his own, just on his jazz background, on his political thing. It was so much to try to cram into 60 minutes.
Right.
And it wasn't even 60 minutes. It was more like 40, because, you got the commercials and stuff.
Of course.
So he needs to put something out on his own.
Yeah.
So people can know exactly what he's done, because he's made major contributions in music. I mean, working with Miles, and he comes from a musical family. His father is Jimmy Heath, with the Heath brothers, and they were very famous jazz ensemble. So he's got history.
Exactly.
And when I met him met him, I used to get this magazine called Downbeat magazine. Why I was reading this magazine, I don't know, but it was like a jazz thing. And so when we met Mtume and Reggie, he said, Louise West introduced us, and she said, "Oh, this is Mtume." And I said, "Are you James Mtume?" Because I knew how to spell the name, but I didn't know how to pronounce it. But I had seen it in this magazine, because he would win all these downbeat polls as best percussionist, because he was a percussionist. And so he said, "Yeah, that's me." It's like, oh, nice to meet you.
Oh man, but I mean, I think it was really destined to happen for you guys to meet, though, because so much greatness really came out of that musically. Of course, and like you said, you guys have had a long friendship over the years. Yes. But I think the music will be the mainstay, and is the mainstay no matter what.
Absolutely.
So that was awesome. But how was the Unsung experience for you, going back over the group's history and talking about all that different stuff? How was that for you?
Well, it's what it was. It was memories, and it was like, it's just like, this is the story of, well, it was Mtume, and then it was the band, you
Right.
know. So this is, I'm just talking about the band. This is the band story.
Mm-hmm.
So we always had great people in the band, and with each project, he would have a set of different people. Because if you look at the album covers, it's not the same people on each album cover.
Right.
So, you know, as he grew, because he was the type of person that he could have done Juicy Fruit 2 or 3 times, you know, but he said, I can't do that because I've already done it.
Yeah.
So he had to go on to the next thing. So as he evolved, the band had to evolve. So personnel would change. The only person that stayed was me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that was it. The only person that stayed was me, because you know, he needed a vocalist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, but like I said, I think you were the you became the voice. I won't say the face, but necessarily, but the voice,
yes,
of the group at some point, and then everybody already knew when they heard it. It was like, okay, I know who this is. I might not know her name, but I definitely know her from the last song.
Right. That's those Mtume people. Yeah.
But it's wonderful though. I'm glad they did at least highlight you know, his life somewhat, and then the group's you know, inception and ending. Do you think that you'll make a solo album again on your own at some point?
You know what? I would like to. I think I'd like to do an EP. You know, I don't need to do like 17 songs. It's like, no. Because who's going to listen to that anyway? So I would like to do an EP, and we've been talking about it, and I think that will come into fruition. Well, this year, you can't count this year at all.
Right.
You can't count 2020. So I did some solo work, you know, with the oldies but goodies shows, and you know, all the groups, and so I enjoyed that. But I want to put something new out. But just things that I like, not necessarily commercial, you know, just something that Tawatha likes. So I hope that we can do that next year.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a specific type of music though that you really like doing? Because you can sing anything. So is there like jazz?
I can tell. No, my first love is gospel music.
Okay.
It's gospel music. Oh, I'm a church girl through and through.
Yeah.
And I like contemporary gospel music. As a matter of fact, when I realized I wanted to sing, I said I want to sing with a group like Edwin or Walter Hawkins.
Yes.
Because I like that kind of contemporary gospel music. So you know, that's my first love. That's my first love.
I think you should definitely write a book though at some point about your life.
You think?
Yeah, because you know what? I always champion for people like you, because it's like sometimes, and like I said, you don't mind, but it's like you need to be known, not necessarily on a $1 million stage or whatever, but but people need to know the stories, you know, and they need to know your history, because they don't understand singing with people like Luther, you know, and all the other people, and Stephanie Mills and Teddy Pendergrass.
And Aretha. Oh my God.
Right. Come on now.
I had a poster of her and when I was at Howard, I had a poster of her in my dorm room, you know, and then to like 10 years later to be like singing with her, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. Working with the Queen.
Yeah. I mean, I that's just really amazing. Especially singing with somebody like her. That's I don't think you can get any bigger at that point, honestly.
You know what? There have been times when I'd been on stage and I would be, she would sing me to tears. I would just start crying because she touched you when she sang. It's like, oh my God, it's Aretha. Aretha's playing the piano. Oh my God, the Queen of Soul. And I'm standing like 5 feet from her. It's like, oh my God, it couldn't get any better than that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And to see a art form come to life and just excel is something totally different. And I don't think people really understand it sometimes. You really have to go to a concert sometimes or know somebody up close and personal to really see those kind of things. Right. And for you to be right there in the background, it's like, wow.
Oh my goodness. It's like, I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
I think the first thing we did with her was in oh my God. I just saw it on social media. My friend posted it. Our first gig with Aretha, I think, was in 1990. And we did like the Grammy Living Legends Awards. And we were the background singers. And it's like, oh my God, it's Aretha. It's Aretha. I can't believe it's Aretha. And I didn't care that Quincy Jones was in the audience or Oprah was in the audience. That was Aretha out there.
That's right.
So it's like, woo, that was, I'm telling you, I've had a lot of moments. It's like, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm sure because, and I can tell that you left a lasting impression on people. Of course, Aretha is no longer here. So, but
yes.
all the others, or most of the others, are still here. I remember
yes.
Even the other day when I posted the flyer about us doing the interview, Stephanie Mills commented on it with the loves and everything.
Oh.
So, I can tell that you really left a lasting impression on people with your work.
Well, because you know what, I believe that you have to do that. You don't have to work with somebody for 20 years, but you have to always be able to go back if you have to.
That's right.
And fortunately for me, I've gone back to people that I've worked with like 2 or 3 times. So I mean, with Lenny Kravitz, with Steely Dan, with I worked with the Dave Matthews Band in when was that? In 1999, 2000. And
okay.
12, 13 years later, they called me to say, can you get some girls together and come back and do this? And it's like, sure. Sure. And, so it's how you lead a group, so you have to be able to come back. You have
right.
to come back. So I've always had good relationships with everyone that I work with. So, so I have no problem with going back or getting some new singers to work with them. So it's that's my thing. It's not about like being in the front. It's like making sure everything in the back is straight.
That's right. I mean? Because
sure the singers are on point.
That's right. That's right. Because guess what? If you like I know that if the background is not right, the song is thrown off already.
Oh my God! It's like, what?
Because
what?
you can have a track with no lead singer, but it can have background vocals on it and still be okay.
Exactly.
But you can't have a lead singer with no background vocals. That won't work.
No, you're absolutely correct on that. Absolutely. Because I love the way you think, because then I wouldn't have a job.
Right.
I wouldn't have a job. So, but it's true. You need that support. The soloists need that support. Because they can't do everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're there to give the artist a break.
Exactly.
Give them a break, because you can't sing like 20 songs and be the only one singing.
Yeah, because even if they go and do their own background vocals, they're still doing it. So, but
exactly.
What I'm saying is, if there's none at all, something's wrong.
No, you gotta have some support there. You gotta have a hook. You gotta have a hook to get the people in the audience to sing with you or help you out. Because a lot of times, you see people performing and they just put the microphone out to the audience.
Yeah,
it's like they're taking a break. They're taking a break. It's like
That's
sing.
Right. That's right. I need me a rest because I know this next song coming up, and
this next one's gonna be hard.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God.
What are you most proud of today in your life, whether it's musically or personally? What are you most proud of now?
I am proud that I can be independent. I'm proud that I can say no. I don't have to do every job that comes before me, and it has to be right, and it's got to be on my terms. So, right. and I learned that from Mtume. It's like you gotta, you have to take a position, and sometimes it doesn't work out, but most of the times it does. So, right. But you have to be able to say no, and you have to be able to accept no.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if no, it's like, well, then you know what? That job wasn't for me. And then, because I don't like worry myself or like, oh my God, I didn't get this job. What am I gonna do? No, something else will come along. Something else always comes along, and that's how I've lived my life. Something else will always come along.
All right, yeah. But I love your mindset though. I really do. Good. Because it's rare that you find people that have a mindset like yours, and it's like, I'm not gonna take it personal. I'll keep moving.
Yes. You can't take it personal. You can't take it personal. I mean, because you know what? I've been in, I've gone to shows and hear people singing my riffs, and it's like, well, you know what? Make it work for you.
That's right.
And what that does is it makes me have to change up. So the next time I sing, I have to do something different. Because right. It's the challenge. It's the challenge that you got to keep going up here. You got to stay creative.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. But for last thing, for the people who don't know you, might be the first time seeing you. Obviously not. I hope not. But who is Tawatha Agee in 3 words if you had to describe yourself?
Tawatha Agee, smart, funny, and a lot of common sense.
All right.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
You got to have a lot of common sense. You gotta be able to decipher what's going on around you. And it's a lot of times people say, they have book learning, but they don't have any street knowledge. You got to have a combination of the two. You got to have a combination of the two, or know somebody that can help you.
Absolutely.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because it's out there. I mean, it's just you have to ask.
Right. That's something I just got through talking to somebody about the other day. And I said, sometimes we want people to read our minds and we want people to say, hey, you need this. But at the end of the day, if you don't say it, how can it be known?
Yeah, because people don't know what you're thinking. People don't know what you're thinking. It's like, if you want something, ask for it. The only thing they can say is no. And if they say no, you go on to the next thing.
That's it.
Come on.
But before you go, though, please let everybody know where they can find you on your social media, your websites, all that different stuff.
Okay. Of course, I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Tawatha Agee. 1 word. 2 A's. Tawatha Agee. Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Well, of course, when you have something new, or you just want to talk about something you're doing, you got to come back and do this again. I enjoyed you today.
I enjoyed speaking with you too. This has been a lot of fun for me. Oh, and also my website, tawathaagee.com, where you can see the whole shebang. You can read the list of the discographies and the commercials and stuff that I've done, and the people that I've worked with, and there's great photos of everybody, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than Miss Tawatha Agee. I thank you again so much for doing this. And like I said,
It's been my pleasure.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, I have your Instagram and stuff already.
Okay.
So once I post this, I'll send it over to Angelo and everybody. Okay. And I'll send it to you as well on there, if you're on there.
And special thanks to Mr. Ellaby, Angelo Ellaby, Double Exposure. He's been my friend for years and years. As a matter of fact, he used to be the road manager for Mtume back in the day. Wow. We've known each other for quite a while. So that's my heart. He's my heart.
Yes, absolutely. I spoke to him last night. I could tell he was
very businesslike.
That's right.
Very businesslike.
I love that. I love just talking to people, and I hear them talk like that. I'm just like, okay, this is my kind of people.
Yes. It's like, and that's what I aspire. Let me aspire to something else, So like, okay, I like the way he said that. Let me try to incorporate that into what I'm doing. Yes.
Absolutely. But of course, I'll keep in touch. Like you said, we'll do this again soon. Until then, please make sure that you stay safe so that we'll see each other again.
Absolutely. Same to you. Thank you for everything. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You take care now.
All right. You do the same.
Bye.